Okay,
I'm
I'm
going
going to leave.
I'm going to love you and
Hey,
leave
we
you.
appreciate you coming in either way, so thanks, Jess. There you are, folks. There's endurance racing in live action, because there is a problem for the Northampton Maidens.
I
The
reckon that's a
all-female
slow
team.
puncture.
Andrew, talk about the commentator's curse. We're not going to get invited to any parties.
No, well, we don't go to parties anyway because we're not very cool. I reckon that's got a puncture.
Yeah, that's. I
it's
agree.
not turning into left-hand corners, I think, which tends to mean it's something I've personally had around this place before.
I thought she was just taking an extremely, a very extreme wet line at one point, but no, she is struggling.
I think
you can see around this corner.
It might be a rear. If one of the rear tyres has popped off the rim.
Yeah, it's interesting. Is she pulling in? She is pulling in. So Rihanna Percox, a very sad and soggy Rihanna Percox, one would imagine, is going to pull into the pit lane. Andrew's going to poke his head round the door and see if what kind of issue it is. Rihanna out of the kart, up on the jacks to get rain, get fuel. It's been getting rain for a while. So I saw her get out of the car and her race suit's dripping, and just rain came into mind. The deluge that she's had to drive through. She's going to, and she's not the only one, of course. Plenty of drivers. And look at this, loads of action at the fuel Bowsers. The number 65, the Autosport kart, is in. And yeah, there are the Northampton Maidens. The 25 is in as well. That's Dandy's Barmy Army, who are relatively far down the order.
It's all a bit noisy out there.
It is rather noisy, isn't it? It's all a bit frantic.
I don't know whether it was a puncture or not. I couldn't see any of the tyres down. So I'm going to pull myself up on that one. I don't think it was a puncture, but it was something wrong with the handling. It wasn't a power-related issue, because it just looked like it didn't want to go round the corners.
Yeah, the 66 Kart Events BE, they're in the pits as well. We are coming up to, now we're coming to 3 hours in. They're back out, are they? No, sorry. Excuse me.
No.
That's the 85. Sorry. I'm completely making up kart names now. That's the EGKT team.
Yeah.
Who we just saw on the screen. Haven't mentioned them much either. They're currently running 31st. They're sort of having. They're one of those teams who's in just that pocket of quietness. They're about 20 seconds ahead of the kart behind them. They're 45 seconds behind the kart in front of them. So it's just about keeping the pace, and this is where the endurance aspect comes in. You've got to keep the focus through these really long stints, and even though you haven't got someone to fight with directly, you've got to keep the pace up. And the rain picking up.
It is. This again was expected. When we were talking about the really heavy rain earlier, there were 2 bands of it coming in. This is band 2.
Yeah, this is quite heavy already. So the standing water, I would wager, is about to pick up again, which is going to be not good news for anybody, except perhaps Will Chu, who is leading completely. Into the pits comes Team Keen, 2nd place in Clubman class and 6th place overall. They've had an impressive drive so far, and they've just done an hour and 35 minutes stint. In fact, all the leaders, I'll tell you who's going to pit soon, surely, is the 770 car of Offline 1, currently 4th place overall and 4th place within Pro Class as well. They've currently done an hour and 43 minutes, so one has to assume they're going to pit. Same for SG Petch Sprinters, Andrew, our leaders in the higher kart class. They're doing what I would describe as an aggressive fuel strategy. Currently, they've done an hour and 46-minute sprint, which is really pushing the fuel limits. But I suppose, actually thinking about it, of course, in these conditions, it's not really pushing the fuel as much because of the lesser fuel being used. So SG Petch Sprinters are playing a bit of a blinder here strategically, Andrew. I think they're responding to the conditions.
You're absolutely right, because the other part of it, you could go 2 ways. You either stick with your plan of going by regular pit stops at excellent levels and your ones in the wet, they'll just be shorter. Yeah, because you've got less fuel to put in. Or, as you say, you try and use the rain. Look at it coming down now, and those. I think that our favourite bollard's going to be back out very soon.
I think it might be. And the field's least favourite bollard, it has to be said.
But the someone's on the bottom of the shot. If we can get the camera to pan down slightly, has had an off there. I reckon that's at hairpin 3. The big, enormous plume of steam.
I didn't see who that was.
I think the cart's got away now. I think he got stuck on the outside of hairpin 3 momentarily. An enormous plume of smoke went up as the hot exhaust hit that water.
Just looking to see who that might be on the timings. I'm looking for somebody with a very long final sector, I imagine. Or am I? Where's the final sector kicking? It's just before the parabola. I'm trying to say that word. Let's have a look. It was Team Keen. It was Team Keen, I think, Andrew, on their outlap. They had a 40-second last sector. So the 115 Team Keen, I think, were the ones who we just saw having an off there. As you say, at the bottom of the shot, it was actually more... It was just adding a bit of ambience to the shot by throwing some steam up into shot. And, oh, goodness me, how unwelcome is this rain? Now, as you say, playing the strategy here, do you go longer on your stints with the fuel? And it has to be said, Andrew, right now it's raining, but at least it's daylight and loads of people are awake and up and about and can think about the strategy. In the middle of the night, if these things happen, it's much harder to change your strategy, because even though the sensible drivers out there will be, you know, if you're not racing for a while, get some sleep and all that sort of thing, it's just the fact of the matter is that fewer people are awake at night, so it's harder to change up your strategy at night. I always think, at least in these events, as we're looking there at the 111.
I've got to say,
the 211, excuse me. That's the second place kart.
The 188 there with Alan Curtis at the wheel, absolutely storming through the field. This is a kart that's had as Curtis catches a curb there. This is a kart that's had has had an issue, a braking issue. Excuse me.
I'm wondering if Monday nights didn't trigger the timing if they came from the pits last time. So far they're on a 3-hour stint according to timing. Sorry, carry on.
188 did have a brakes issue earlier. They had a bit of a long pedal. They are nicely making their way back up through the order now and setting some good lap times there. The team of mostly D-Max drivers.
In the pits, Banshee Racing are in the pits. I'm wondering if they've had a problem actually, because they've been in there a while, I think. Autosports are in the pits, as are Skotec Racing and Team Bonato 987, who I believe were having a bit of a battle on track not too long ago, but they've spread out a bit now. Conditions have changed, and you can see the rain, and it is a bit of a miserable sight at the moment. Here, you can see the tents pitched around the circuit. I hope the campsite area is not really too waterlogged, because that's going to be an unpleasant night's sleep if it is. As there's a curb warning for our leaders in... our former leaders, because there's been a change for the lead, Andrew, here in the hire kart class. When did Harry's Carriers get to the head of the hire kart field? So, change of the lead there, the number 57. This is the 330, who will be hoping for a much nicer rain period than the last time they did. Last time it rained heavily, an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. So,
just to comment there, Howard, what's interesting with that shot there is how the hire carts with a bit more weight can really carry a lot more speed through the corners.
Yeah, it's a really good point actually. It's not, I think the pace of the two kart types does close up in these conditions, doesn't it? So no standing water on that curb yet, but everyone going wide as you like as they try and work out what... it is difficult, that hook section in these conditions, because you don't quite know, do I lift? Do I... What line do I take? how do I pace myself? Is there any braking to step? You know, it's a difficult one. But yes, hire kart. Carriers currently lead the hire kart class, and SG Pech sprinters are surely going to want to pit soon, Andrew. According to times here, it's been an hour and 51 minutes since they last pitted, as is the case for offline one. Some of these karts are taking advantage of these wet weather conditions and really pushing the limit on fuel. Now, strategically, that's very smart. My question is, how are they measuring it? As in, how do they know when to call quits? Unless they have some really good data from when they've done things here previously. As is there a problem there for the 330?
Possibly. The driver's looking down, well, pardon the phrase, down between his legs. Not quite sure what that was about. The kart looks a little bit slow off the corner. It's back up to speed now, though. As it, it nearly gets cut off there by the number, I think that was the 47 of Team White River. Yeah, just a moment there for the 330.
Yeah, it is a problem for the Banshee Racing guys, by the way, Andrew. They're still in the pit lane. They might be glad of it with these conditions.
Maybe they should just put the feet up.
No, I think that they came in before this deluge came, but yes, it's interesting. Very interesting that these conditions have returned. And the other thing to bear in mind, these are, generally speaking, a completely different set of drivers to those who dealt with the first set of conditions. There is the leader in the hire car class, is it not? Because that is James Saunders' helmet, I believe. So, James Saunders in the 57. That is your hire car class leader at the moment. And thankfully, he has a rain suit on. So, not quite the same woes as befell the class the last time around. The gap's only 6.5 seconds, though, back to the SG Pech sprinters. So, it's still all to play for.
Then, or
no, I think that was just a door being slammed.
Oh, okay.
I think we're gonna. I hope. Everyone else outside hopes. As who's coming into the pits here? It's the 111 is in the pits. That being the Not Scared team. They're not scared to get wet, hopefully, because that's exactly what's happening out there at the moment.
So here is the higher class lead. You can see on the left-hand side. Just two karts on the class lead lap now. As we mentioned, Harry's carriers running very wide. It is again, it's one of these where you can't quite see with the angle of the camera, but not only is this part of the circuit that the drivers are going up now quite steep, but it also kind of cambers off to the right. It almost, if you get too wide, you can kind of just fall off the side of the road almost. And you don't want to be there anyway, because you leave yourself very, very tight for the next right-hander. It's a very, very tricky part of the circuit, especially in these conditions.
Yeah, I agree. It's actually it's a corner I've always found difficult to get it right. There are some reasons for that are self-induced. As what I like to think of a gravitationally challenged driver. A lot of gravity acts on me for some reason. It's not good for me when I'm going up the hill on track. It is a part of the track that favours the lighter drivers, but also, yeah, it is just a difficult corner to hook up. And as you say, if you get off, there's a yellow there again. So I wonder if someone... Oh, yes, of course, the tyres at the bottom. Or are those tyres or something else? I think it is tyres.
Well, they're definitely not meant to look like that.
No, I agree. So, although the yellow's stopped waving.
Might be something just round the corner.
May well be. As James Saunders, our leader in the high car class, goes bumping over the curbs there at the hook. Into the pits comes the third place kart, the MSJSR 111 on kart, our former leaders of the race.
And 4 wide almost up the back straight, and Alan Curtis trying to make his way through here past a bunch of battling higher karts.
Problems, I think, Andrew, for the number 987 Team Bernardo. They're back in the pit lanes just 4 minutes after they were last there, Not conventional strategy that. I can't think that's for a time pit, for a scheduled pit stop. I think they may have some kind of problem on the track.
Well, not good news for them at all as the
Rain went wide there into hairpin 3. Difficult braking to hairpin 3 as well because you're just coming off the fast-paced corner. So it's very often part of a sort of sweeping arc that you're taking. So you can very often end up braking and turning at the same time, or trying to brake late and sort of kick the back out as you go into that corner. In previous years, there was quite a nasty bump on the racing line through that corner, but it's not nearly as bad these days. They've re-tarmacked that area. Good to have well wishes for the current hire kart leaders. Pam Williams is, am I right? I think we've Brandon is on there.
Yes, he is.
His team. So I wonder perhaps a relation of. But yeah, support coming in for the Harry Carriers team, made up of competitors in the Northampton Karting League, which is covered by Alpha Live Productions, as is this event. Presumably you're watching us live at www.facebook.com/Alpha Live Productions, unless we're going out somewhere else that we ain't told. But as in Andrew and I, I'm sure Luke knows where everywhere that we go. He's a man with a plan. But if you like what you're seeing here today from Alpha Live, thank you very much for thinking so. Why not give us a little old like there on the, or follow us on the Alpha Live production page to keep abreast of all the things that we are covering. And if you like what you're hearing from a commentary side, thank you very much for thinking that as well. You can check out specifically the commentary work that Andrew and I get up to by going to our page on Facebook, ARM Motorsport Media. Type that into your search bar on Facebook and you'll find us. And is it facebook.com/ARM Motorsport Media? Is it just that?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
I'm sorry, mate. Type it in anyway.
Yes,
it is. So facebook.com/ARM Motorsport Media. That's ARM Motorsport Media. So yeah. Very glad to be able to bring you coverage. Motorsport Media commentating for Alpha Live. We are watching more. Actually, has the rain died down slightly? It's looking lighter again. And it is, as I look out the window. It's still going. Not the conditions people would have wanted, of course. This is still the summer. If anybody's watching around the world, this is highly irregular in the British summer, isn't it, Andrew? This doesn't happen.
And the 12's off.
The 12's off again. Now, that's not the first time we've seen it off. That's the BBSB. Actually, it is one of the first times because they've been in the pits for a long time, I think, Andrew. BBSBB there towards the back. Not scared.
The 82 spins under yellow. That's oh, and parks right in front of the 12. That's less than ideal for both drivers there. What's the 82? That's Salt Bay Racing.
The number 42 LH Racing car in the hire karts class, they have pitted from 32nd place after a monster stint, an hour and 53 minutes out there. Well done to that driver. Not Scared, who I think I said were pitting a moment ago, Andrew. They haven't left, so they're still in the pits. So I'm wondering if maybe there's a problem for the Not Scared team.
I have to say as well, just as the timing and scoring pops back to overall.
Sorry, Andrew, there's a lot of activity in the pits here, and some people are going to fall foul of the congestion of the fuel bowsers. MSJSR 111 on kart are still in the pits. Kart Force 2, they've pulled into the pits. Blue Speed Racing have pulled into the pits. There's a lot of action that's just happened. Some of these are people coming in with mechanical problems, I think. But, sorry to cut across you there. I just wondered if it's actually been quite calm out there. Yeah, Blue Speed Racing in. That's the 881 and the 84 of Kart Force 2. Sorry, do carry on, mate.
No worries. I was just going to say, DWS, the number 58, also known as T-Technics, I'd put them up there as one of my teams of this first fifth of the race. They started in 7th on the grid, 2nd in Clubman, and now have a clear lap lead over anybody else in that class. And we've been mentioning the Team Keen team, the Team Keen kart, I should say. running very, very well. But T-Technics really, in the last hour or so, have really taken that class, that Clubman class, in the owner carts by the scruff of the neck. A really, really good piece of work by them.
The 86 Race for Ruben team have pulled into pits as well. Very moving scenes we had earlier today for that team and why they're here racing. The fact that they're still here racing now, as DWS admin team just mentioned, pulled into the pits from third place.
They have indeed, and meanwhile, as I say, in the higher class, Harry's Carriers, another team that really, in the last hour or so, as this bad weather has hit the race, you can see them there going through shot. James Saunders with the you can always tell it's James because he's got the kind of eye on the back of his helmet.
It's quite a sinister thing to have on the back of your helmet, isn't it? I'm not sure I like that. Just
well, maybe it
puts
off opponents trying to overtake him.
I would imagine it does. He wouldn't need it with me though. Just pull off into the distance. Offline 1, the 770 are in the pits after a 2-hour stint. And another kart who's got a pit eventually are the SG Petch Sprinters. Also on a 2-hour stint. I don't know what is powering that kart anymore. And it underlines actually just how impressive the Harry's Carriers effort, the one we're looking at on screen at the moment, how impressive it has been to, as who's that? Is that the 777?
777 with a problem.
Oh, and
this is one of the offlines, I think.
It is indeed. It's the offline 2. It's the Clubman entry from the offline.
This is 7th
stable.
place overall.
It is. It is. And the driver desperately trying to get the get it started, and he has, and he's getting it underway again. Good stuff from the driver. It's difficult stuff to do, Andrew, because you get your mind fixed on the driving, and then to get out and just go, right, let's get this going. Running on adrenaline, I would wager to a large part. So, DWS still the Clubmans and have emerged from the pits now, I believe. Or have they?
No, they have. Yeah, they've just come over the line again.
Offline 1, as I say, have pitted after a mammoth 2-hour stint. So it's interesting to see who, when will the SG Petch Sprinters here, who have gone for a very aggressive pit strategy. As I say, Andrew, my only question is how are they going to know when it's really time now, we really got to pit. Because it is as a result of these conditions that they must have very good knowledge of how much fuel use is reduced in heavy wet conditions, I'd have thought.
I think I've seen that at the north. Oh, is it right in front that it is missing a number. Can't quite make out which one that is. It's one of the high carts. But the Northampton Maidens are back out on circuit, the number 35. Also
back out on the circuit are the MSJSR 111 on-kart team, who confusingly are not team number 111, they're team number 211. Former race leaders who have spent a long time in the pits. They're now back out on track. Kartforce 2 has also gone out onto the pit lane. Offline 3, the 717, they're currently in the pits. Offline 2, bizarrely. Oh,
contact 82 and 22. This is down at hairpin 1.
That's Salt Bay Racing, who we've seen had a fair number of warnings throughout the race so far, and the Mission Motorsport kart.
And whilst you're over by the borders, well, Howard, the 65. This has been a kart that's had a lot of trouble.
This is the Autosport kart, yeah.
Yeah, it's running very, very slowly and now coming into the pits with a problem.
Yeah, it's not the first problem to befallen them. I think Offline 2 are in the pits now, so the offline squads are cycling through their pit lane, their pit stops. As you say, Autosport now on pit lane as well. MS Soco Select are your race leaders. In fact, actually, I'm going to hold off that because we're around 5 minutes away from at the bottom of the hour. 25 past 3 here. It's just flying by. I sort of lose track of time. Bizarrely, for a sport where there's a clock ticking in the corner, I easily lose track of what time of day it is, particularly when it's overcast and looks uniformly miserable for the first few hours, weather-wise. But it's given us some great drama. We've had 2 karts spin off from the lead in exactly the same part of the circuit. We've had the leader cut out, the engine cut out, and come to a stop and still retain the lead. I'm slightly baffled as to how our leader is still the leader, but credit to them. The pace is good when the engines haven't been cutting out, and the effort put in by Daniel Crossley for the first stint for them. Well, he went around in the rain, as did many, with no rain suit. The deluge came down, and he kept it going, not just as in put up with getting very, very wet and miserable, but as I say, putting up with engine troubles and stuff like that. As we've got a stationary kart here. Oh, that driver's not happy about something. Giving one of the universal signs of I wasn't too happy with what just happened there. Where is that? Difficult to tell. It's in the latter part of the lap. Oh, sorry, it's in the early part of the lap. In the hook by the awnings, now underway again. So we'll look out for who's setting slower set times there, although it's going to be difficult as the first sector. It can easily be mistaken for people pitting. Racing for Riley team, 99, they're in the pits at present. Not scared, they've had quite a slow first sector. Yeah, maybe in the pits recently, but they may be emerging from the pits, having had some kind of problem. Oh, Brawn Cocktails, it may have been. 41.766 first sector, that's very slow. And I don't believe we saw them in the pit, so I think that may have been the 48, who at one time were right at the sharp end of the field. In fact, they did lead at one point in that class. So, unconfirmed, that's just my hypothesis looking at the timing screens, which are available to one and all, by the way, live.alphatiming.co.uk/Teesside. That's Teesside spelled with a double E and a double S. Don't put the www in, it's just live.alphatiming.co.uk/Teesside. And you can follow all the live timings. You can use the driver tracker. You can see any penalties or warnings being issued. So, and Brawn Cocktails have just pitted actually. So I believe it was them who had the drama, and they've now pitted. Not Scared are back in the pits as well. So issues for them, I'm afraid, which may not have gone away quite how they thought they had. It's one of the higher karts. And it's not going well for them. It's been a difficult hour for them, no doubt about that. Don't forget, as many of you have been, you can interact with us on Facebook under the live stream, leave a comment, and we have the power to beam that up onto the screen here. I'm just watching the weather radar and I can't say it looks like it's going to get particularly nicer anytime soon, as this is quite a big gaggle of higher karts on various laps, as it is not all for position as far as I'm aware. Who is this screen? 77 karts in that one I saw. That's a brilliant performance racing.
And they've had quite a few problems as well as the race has gone on, but no one did the last update new, I think, around the 60th place. I've just noted there the 330. So this is the owner kart Q Racing entry in second place. That nose cone again looks like it's coming loose, Howard. We saw it earlier.
Yeah, we did see it earlier. We saw the driver actually slapping it down to keep it. And here you can see the difference you were talking about, Andrew, that the higher karts take more speed through that corner.
It's the weight.
Because of their weight. And then for the rest of the lap, or in a lot of other places around the lap, the owner karts, here we are again, the owner kart's now getting held up, if anything. Although I say that, no, it is on the corners, isn't it? So on the straights, the owner karts have got the speed. but in the corners they're struggling because they haven't got the weight to get the traction and get the turn in. That's our ooh, is that got 2 on 1? Can't tell this distance on that shot. Let's give you a rundown of the order then. It's the bottom of the hour. We are 3.5 hours into the British 24 hours here at Teesside Autodrome. My name's Howard Mitchell. I'm alongside Andrew Math in the commentary box as the number 41 does a lovely pirouette into the braking zone of hairpin 1. That's Kart Force 3. I don't think we've mentioned Kart Force 3 too much, but there they are. Well, it's probably not the screen time they wanted, actually, so I won't dwell on it. But we are here giving you live coverage. Alpha Live. That's a very odd steering wheel on that Kart Force car.
Oh,
handlebars. Oh, they're handlebars. Beg pardon. So they're using handlebars to steer that. Fair enough.
There's another kart off down at, not going again now, down at, what are we counting that as? Are we counting that as turn 4? So like 1, 2 is the hook, and then 3 for the left-hander, and then 4 for the bottom of the hill?
Yes, I'll call it turn 4. I've just been calling it the right-hander after pit exit, but that's cheating. But yes, I can tell there's going to be all sorts of drama at the moment.
Oh, it's 22 spun, and there's contact, and the 5's nearly gone as well. So the 22 in more issues. That's the 35, that's the Maidens. That's the Northampton Maidens in trouble. Jack Dex racing coming through as well. Alan Curtis there in the 188. So it's all going on through the hairpins.
Mission Motorsport for number 22. Braun Cocktail still in the pits, Andrew. I'm wondering if the contact and the spin may have actually caused them some problems. Monday nights, they're in the pits. As leaders are in the pits. MS Soko Select are in the pits. So this is pretty much the worst time to do an update of the order. So I'm going to just leave it for a moment, because leaders in the pit lane. That's not them, because that's one of the high karts. We shall pan around. We can't see them.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Simon.
It's fantastic seeing those teams here.
It's brilliant. Yeah, no,
quite a few of them.
that's. I didn't realise that was the reason, but absolutely fair play to them. Good stuff. So brilliant to see those guys competing, and yeah, still taking the dry line through there, aren't they? The higher karts.
Well, if it's working.
If it's working, it's working. Okay, our leaders have left the pit and they've been able to hold on to the lead. So, let's give you now a run through the field. As I say, Alpha Live Productions coverage of the British 24 Hours for 2017. And so far, it's been a very, very wet race. We've had one very large deluge, and we've pretty much only just come out of a second not very welcome at all deluge. So the drivers have got very wet and have dealt with it well. But to give you a run through of the field, in first place, your race leader, as they have been for a while now, their engines cut out, they spun off, the driver had to get out the kart and put it back on the road. It's the 443 MS Soko Select team, and they are, I tell you what, we've got to keep an eye on this actually, Andrew. They're only 4/10 up on second place, the Q Racing squad, so we need to try and see if we can spot the leaders currently in the outfield section of the track. DWS, your nomination for best team, and there's change. It's changed.
The lead.
The 330's got by the 443. There they are. So here's your update. Q Racing are your race leaders, and will be officially acknowledged as such when they next come around to complete this lap. MS Soko Select are second.
And problem for
and it's
443.
engine problems. They're done, and I wonder if he knows, Andrew. I would imagine he might well know that he just lost the lead. So, the kart that spun off and got bogged down and also had a mechanical flag currently leads just ahead of the kart that spun off, got bogged down, and has had engine troubles. In third place is a kart that, as far as we can tell, has run fairly problem-free. The 58 DWS kart, very impressive run for them, current leaders in the clubman class 4th place are MS Lucas Racing, the 420. Team Keen, 2nd place in Clubman's, 5th place overall, the 115 kart. Then we get to the first of the offline karts. Offline 1, the 770 in 6th place, and offline 2, the 777 in 7th place, who we saw pulling over to the side of the track at one point and getting the engine started again. It's so difficult when you get the water in the air intakes of these engines to keep them going. Canterbury College, the 222, they're currently running 8th overall. Team Belgium running 9th in the 79, and then it's the 110 of Giant Hornets Racing rounding out the top 10 and indeed leading the rookie class. JDR Racing, it's Jack Dax, isn't it?
Jack Dax.
Jack Dax Racing, the number 74 there in 11th place in the Clubman class. The 211 MSJSR 111 on kart, 12th place overall. They've emerged from the pit lane having had some kind of problem. They've spent a long time in the pits. They were formerly at the head of this race, but now in 12th place. 13th in the Cosley Cougars in the 69. Kart Force 2, the number 84, has pulled into the pits, and I think they're suffering with some kind of recurring problem because it's only been 11 minutes since they were last in there, but currently they're 14th. Harry's Carriers then, the leaders in the higher kart class, the number 57, 15th overall, and they lead by 10.6 seconds ahead of SG Petch Sprinters, who continue to amaze me with their stint lengths. 2 hours, 17 minutes since they last paid a visit to the pits. You wouldn't usually see these karts capable of this distance, but the rain has allowed them to pull a blinder on the strategies. 16th place for them. 17th place, they've had a good race so far. 3rd place in the higher kart class is the 100 kart of Eco Trailer. Karts Events BE, the number 66 kart, one of our Belgian teams. 18th place overall, have just on that last lap overtaken offline 3, the 717 in 19th place overall. Race for Rubin, who in many ways have the support of everybody here to have a good race here today. They're 20th in the number 86 kart, currently running well. Last minute, we've seen a few dramas for them. They're 21st in the 83 kart. Cupid Stunts in the number 5 kart. I'm going to say them carefully, but they're currently driving carefully enough to be in 22nd place. Scotec Racing, the number 34, 23rd. 24th, 33 kart of BTM Racing UK. Then we get to one of the Clubman karts, Dads and Lads, the 64 in 25th place. And they're 23 seconds up the road from Wildcard Racing, one of the Clubman cars, 188, who have just pulled into the pits. Team Banato, the 987, who we believe have had some kind of gremlin or something. One of the high karts there is in 27th place. DCU Karting, they've had a dramatic few hours so far. They've had a black flag amongst other things. The 46 kart in 28th place. 29th is the 881 of Blue Speed Racing, and then it's the number 49 of Modave PPS to round up the top 30. 31st place is the 85 kart of EDKT, and it's Banato 7, the number 37 kart. They had some issues earlier on as well. The 61 of Shy Tall Knights. I'm trying to say that without sounding like I shouldn't have tried to say it. 33rd place at the moment for them. 34th is the 47 of Team White River. LH Racing in the 42 is 35th. The Northampton Maidens, one-time leaders of the high kart class, in the number 35 kart are 36th. The 101 YMSV Crash Team Racing, they're in 37th. 38th is CB31 in the 31 kart. The 54 Rival Bones are 39th. And I shall run through the remaining 25 as quickly as I can. All of these karts, I think it's fair to say, have experienced some kind of drama, whether it be mechanical, offs or penalties. In 40th is the 68 Swindon Karting 2. 41st is the 103 of Hook Motorsport, UCK Motorsport. 42nd is the 23 of Monday Nights. 43rd is the 15 car, 15 of Thundercats. 44th is the 30 of SimRacing.club. 45th is the 67 Swindon Karting 1 team, the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, the 1942 kart, commemorating the 75th anniversary of that organisation. 46th position at the moment. 47th is the 41 kart, Kart Force 3. Black Art Customs, the 81 kart, are 48th. 49th are Brawn Cocktails, one time at the sharp end of the higher kart field, the number 48. 227 Piston Broke. That kart is in 50th place. 51st position is Steel City, the number 40. 52nd is 77 kart Aprilia Performance Racing. Kart Force 1, the 44 kart. 53rd, 54th is the 96 of Team Bernardo Academy. SG Petch Fury are 55th. in the 117. 111 of Not Scared are in 56th. In 57th, it'll be the 26th, or it is the 26th of Maltby Warriors. 58th place is the 22 Kart of Sporting Force and Mission Motorsport. Autosport, the 65 Kart, 59. 60th is Racing for Riley, the 99 Kart. 61st is the 20. As my timing screen's gone. 61st is Dandy's Barmy Army, the 25th. The 999 karting team of 62nd. 63rd is the 82 Salt Bay Racing. The number 12 kart of BBS 64th, and 65th, having had several problems that were put in the pits, is the 39 of Banshee Racing. Ooh, I think it's still a bit, right?
Yes,
Okay.
the 188 Wildcat, not Wildcat, Wildcard. This is the kart that was being piloted by Alan Curtis. Unfortunately, has hit trouble again. They have had to come into the pits and have got some form of technical issue, which means they, yes, they are going to have another delay in the pits. There's someone off at hairpin 4. It's the 101. This is Crash Team Racing, YMSV. So they're beached on the exit of, well, just coming out of hairpin 3 and approaching into hairpin 4. There's your second place kart. Oh, there's off! And again, the 443 going for another trim, and there's a huge puddle and big drama again for the 443. This is the previous pole sitter at the start of the race. MS Osoko Select are off again at the same corner that they had the issue earlier. It was the one which damaged the right-hand side of the kart. The driver's got to get it going again. He must have been pushing really, really hard. But once, and no, he's not got both engines running. This is critical time being lost now for the 443. Another huge, huge pile of water being thrown up by that kart. Well, and that's how quickly it can go wrong in these conditions. They have been pushing hard. They've been losing time to Q Racing, but all of a sudden they have lost a lot of time there. And there's a spin in hairpin 1 as well for one of the higher karts. It's the field filing its way through. So 20 hours and 17 minutes of this race to go. Here at Teesside Autodrome, it is the 24 hours karting series live here with Alpha Live. There was another spin. I think as maybe the track just started to dry out a bit. Drivers pushing a little bit more and finding that the limit is still quite easy to find out there. We'll try and see who that was on timing that had the spin in underbraking for hairpin 3. The 443 is running again, but look at how much time they've lost there. They've lost over 40 seconds. Over 40 seconds to Q Racing. As another kart, this time one of the higher karts, nearly has a moment coming off of turn 3. And, Team Belgium making their way past some of the traffic, currently running in 9th place. Giant Hornets Racing, P10. As well. There is your second place kart, the 443. 151 laps completed. Make that 152 laps completed for the leader. And 57 there. Let's have a look at the 50, see the 57 still leading higher. Yeah, they are. Harry's Carriers. And currently 12 seconds ahead of the SG Petch Sprinters in the 120. And look at that, straight up the inside goes James Saunders in the 57. Once again, it's still looking at the case with the damp conditions that the higher karts, with their added weight, all of them on slick tyres, that added weight just giving them a bit more grip through the corners. But then once again you see the owner kart with a bit more power pulls back in front. Now this is the corner. This is the corner that they're struggling with. Okay through there that time. Through hairpin, no, sorry, that's hairpin 1 actually that they're going through there. 51 seconds now the lead. So not only have they had that spin, but it's now a case that Q Racing are able to pull out about a second and a half on their rivals at this stage of the race. 443 catching up onto it. There is your leader, so going through and starting lap 154. So it's pretty much the whole of the national circuit that they have as a lead now over this kart here, the 443, making its way through a bit more of the higher kart traffic. There's your higher kart leader, Harry's Carriers. Looking a little bit further down the order, I'm just going to see where the 188 is and whether they're back out on circuit. As we say, they are back out on circuit in fact, but they've fallen down to 39th place now for the clubman entry. There's still a long way in this one to go. Do keep your comments coming in on the Facebook stream. Great to have you part of the broadcast. Joining us as the 443 takes a lot of curb again through there. If you've enjoyed the stream so far, do follow at Alpha Live and at ARN Motorsport Media on Facebook. So the race just starting to calm down a little bit now. The weather is starting to break pretty much. So it's as we're coming up to 4 o'clock. Another little patch of wet weather off to the northwest, but I think hopefully it'll burn up by the time it gets over to the Middlesbrough area. But the rain has now pretty much stopped, and we should be good for at least, I'd say, half an hour, 45 minutes to get a bit of dry running in. More engine problems for the 443. You can see the driver there pulling the chain starter. Simon's asking us, do we have full coverage for the 24 hours? There will be at least a video. The plan over the night is to have static cameras. Do forgive us. I think me and Howard are going to be able to go all the way through the night, but we will do our best to make sure that you get most of the running time, and say up to it's the middle of the evening, and then the final 6 hours of the race as well. Will this kart still be running by that point? The slightly bruised MS Soco Select kart. Pulling our way through a bit more traffic. .56 seconds is now the lead for Q Racing as they continue to pull out the gap. T-Technics, the DWS kart on timing and scoring, the number 58. Now up to 3rd place overall. As is that the lead is in. The leader is in. Q Racing come into the pit stops. 1 hour and 46 minutes the lap time there. As the camera pans around there, you can see them. For anyone joining us, yes, I know the kart plates does say 33, but on timing and scoring, this is the 330, because there's also a 33 in higher karts. So looking like a fairly routine stop there for the leaders, and given the size of lead that they have got, they should be able to retain overall and class lead in the race. Still that nose cone looking ever so slightly deranged on the front. You can't quite see it now. Driver change completed as well. Here comes one of the higher karts. Can't quite tell which one this is. And MS Soco Select come over the line. Are they going to get back out ahead? There's the 420. No, we've not talked about this car much. This is the MS Lucas Racing car, currently in 4th place overall and now 3rd in Pro. Quietly getting on with their business. And we talked earlier in the broadcast about the way to take on these 24 hours. And a lot of teams were thinking about it being 20 hours of calm racing, just nursing the karts through the race and then hopefully still being there or thereabouts come the last 4 hours of the race, at which point you then attack. MS Lucas Racing doing that very, very nicely right now. 777. Offline 2 still running in 7th place, and in fact Offline Karts from Pro and Clubman line astern on timing at the moment, 6th and 7th, and separated by 63 seconds. That is the lead for Offline 1 over Offline 2, and a black flag for the number 12, which unfortunately is the BBSBB karts. This is the one that's down in 64th place at the moment, having a lot of issues. 31 laps off the lead. So that's being called out over the tannoy now. As spin down at the chicane. Couldn't quite make out that kart number, unfortunately. Driver's still finding it very, very tricky out there. Back with Lucas Racing now, 420. Great looking livery on this car, almost like a split style effect. And matching race helmets to go with part of that scheme as well. For the driver currently at the wheel of that kart. Fastest laps, well, the fastest laps are still kind of in the very, very early stages of the race when we started this race in dry conditions. So 1:13.653, the fastest lap that kart has done today, which was on lap 39. We're now on lap 155. The lap time still in the mid-33s, but coming down slowly but surely as the track continues to dry. As I say, we're still a good 20 seconds off pure dry running pace. For the drivers planning to drive over the darkness hours, they'll be hoping that this track dries up before that point. I'm just going to remind myself when sunset is this evening, as the nights start to get longer as we exit summer, although arguably with the weather conditions today, we've already exited summer here in Middlesbrough. At Teesside Autodrome. So yeah, it's darkness falling at 8:45 this evening. So we've still got a good several hours of light to go. More activity going on in the pits. Another driver change going on for one of our teams in the higher class. Efficient looking pit stop there, nice and calm. The lead, we've not talked about the lead for a while. It is close again, but the second place kart owes us a pit stop. So don't be alarmed, followers of Q Racing. Nope, your kart has not had its own spin, but they've had that pit stop not too long ago. Although saying that, both of them have now made 3 pit stops. So maybe they don't owe us a stop to the number 443. So the top 3 in each class. Q Racing leading overall, MS Soco Select second overall and second in Pro. And third, as we mentioned, MS Lucas Racing third now in that class. DWS 8 leading in Clubman. Second is still Team Keen, another team just nicely getting on with their work at the moment. And a lap off the lead. Third place in Clubman is the offline 2 kart. Leading in rookie, owner rookie class is the number 110 of Giant Hornets Racing. They were second on the grid in that class, so they've had a very, very solid first part of the race. There's another driver going for a bit of rallycross on the run down to turn 4, but no spin that time for that particular driver. Second place in rookie is the original pole sitter and original leader from that class, the number 69 Cosley Cougars, as Jack Dex Racing come into the pit lane. You can see there, notified in 10th place. There is your leader with Slavek Piskors at the wheel. We spoke to him on the grid. First time for him in one of these type of karts. His third British 24-hour here at Teesside Autodrome. And going on quite nicely at the moment. A very, very good performance so far from the Giant Hornets. So yeah, just to finish that rookie provisional podium as it stands, the Hornets from the Cougars. Good names in the rookies. And then it's actually, I think it's offline 3. Yes, it is. Offline 3, the 717 coming in 20th overall. Make up that class podium. On to higher. Here come a bunch of higher karts. Down towards the slaloms. Harry's Carriers have pulled their way through the field. Just going to remind myself where they started. They started in 26th position overall, which was, that was about 8th place in class, but they now lead that one from SG Petch Sprinters, who fantastically used their home knowledge as 443's in. So yes, MS Soco Select did owe us a pit stop. There's a lot of steam coming off the kart. Don't worry about that. That's just water. Oh, no, it's not a good stop here for 443 for Soco Select. Trouble getting both engines running, and that's going to have lost them time there as MS Lucas Racing now come into the pit lane. But as we say, the SG Petch Sprinters using their local knowledge very, very well, and are second place in class, in high class, and third place in high class, and are still the Eco Trailer team, the kart number 100. Leader of the race, going along quite nicely now. 6.4 seconds was the lead over MS Soco Select when they came into the pit lane. And 20 hours and 2 minutes to go. So there's a black flag for the number 42, which is LH Racing, currently in 28th position, running decently high up the field in the higher class. In fact, they might even be in the top 10 in class. Just outside in 12th. Oh, there's a problem for a driver there coming off hairpin 2. Couldn't quite make out which kart number it was. Thank you, Howard, for pointing that out to me.
That's all right. Hello, Andrew.
Well, the pit stop's continuing to rotate round now, waiting to see what the gap was, but I reckon MS Soco Select lost a few crucial seconds again there in that pit stop. Here's the 100. This is the kart in third place in class, the Eco Trailer team. Very nice looking livery on this one. They've done a good job there with the Bigfoot panel. Nice and brightly coloured. And last time they pitted was 1 hour and 13 minutes ago, so we're still waiting. We're going to be waiting a good at least 20 minutes, probably longer. The kart that has stopped off hairpin 2 still stationary there, and full course yellow. Full course yellow. I think this is our third full course yellow of the afternoon so far, and it's our second for a kart which has stopped. I'm not quite sure why the drivers.
Is that a symbol to his pit lane to say please pit me? I think that's, to me, that's a random gesture that I feel like they agreed before the race. If you really need to pit,
make this gesture.
Make this gesture, because there's no other situation in which you'd make this gesture. It's
Ooh.
unfortunate.